Now this is a rough cut, so be gentle. The Hills Run Red stars William Sadler, Tad Hilgenbrink, Sophie Monk, and is directed by Dave Parker. What's up, guys? It is patron request time. This one is for Caleb Tilbrook. And first off, I just want to give a huge thank you to my patrons who are the coolest people in the world, who are very patient with me. And more importantly, we just have such a great community with each other. We do our monthly live streams together, exclusive content, all that good stuff. So if you want to support what I'm doing, definitely go check out the patron group. I have like 5 different tier selections over there. Caleb is of the tier where he gets a movie review. So he requested The Hills Run Red. I've heard of the movie before, knew nothing about it. But I literally just finished watching it. And wow, this was refreshing, okay? This was really refreshing. And by the way, just to timestamp this, I am now officially a grandfather. I have a granddaughter who is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen or ever witnessed. And I'm blessed, okay? That's all I can say. I'm so freaking blessed. And Delilah, welcome to the world. Welcome. And wouldn't it be cool if, you know, one day down the line, maybe when she's in her teens or something like that, and she sees this video, this review for The Hills Run Red, and she can say, that was my grandfather. And he reviewed this really crazy, filthy movie. Shame on him. But Delilah, I love you. I love you with all my heart.
4 friends are searching for a horror film that's been missing for 20 years.
No movie just vanishes without a trace.
But nothing can prepare them for the final cut.
Everybody is expendable for the good of the film.
They're watching.
Now, this movie came out in 2009. I'm probably going to be talking some spoilers in this, probably in the second half of the review. So you can stick around for that. I'll give you a warning once we start getting into spoiler territory, because the second half of this movie, there's a lot of crazy, I don't know if you'd call them twists, but there's some crazy shit going on in the second half of this movie, and it's unexpected, I'll say that. And it does involve a crazy family. Like, this is one of those crazy family horror movies, thinking like, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes, stuff like that. Funny enough, like Destiny Faulkner on Killer Flicks, she just posted a question, and she's dressed up like Lola from The Loved Ones. And she's like, post your favorite, like, crazy family. And I literally was watching this movie at the same time. And also, before we dive deep, one name that really jumped out at me was Robert Meyer Burnett, who was one of the producers on this. I watch the John Campea show weekly, like a couple times a week. I catch his show, and Rob Meyer Burnett is like one of his co-hosts on there. And so the name just really jumped out at me. So if Rob Meyer Burnett sees this, you did good. You did real good. But anyway, jumping into a plot synopsis for you guys. Tad Hilgenbrink, he plays our main character, Tyler. He is a film aficionado, I guess. He's obsessed with filmmaking, especially horror filmmaking. And there is this, I guess you could call it one of those video nasties that never was released because of how graphic and how disturbing it was, called The Hills Run Red. This is a fictional movie in this actual movie. And he's obsessed with this, and he wants to find out more. And I can buy this too, because I've often been interested in those types of movies, like Last House on the Left, like I Spit on Your Grave. I've always been interested in not just the movies, but the backstory. Like, how could a director make something that is this freaking, you know, boundary pushing and just insane? Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, does a director come out the other side of a movie like that the same person? It's got to take something out of you, right? And so automatically I'm interested in the plot of this movie. This character that he's almost obsessed with this lost movie, and he wants to find out more. He wants to go down the rabbit hole. Really, this is kind of an Alice in Wonderland type story. And so the filmmaker in this movie is Wilson Wyland Concannon, which is a hard name to say. It doesn't really roll off the tongue. Played by William Sadler, the great William Sadler. He has kind of went into hiding. Like, nobody even knows where the guy is. He has this daughter by the name of Alexa, And so that is, I guess, the first target that Tyler has. You know, he wants to find Alexa. He wants to interview her about this movie. Alexa ends up being a stripper in Las Vegas. And up to this point, you do see a lot of like TNA, stuff like that. You can see, I guess, the type of film this is budget-wise. It feels pretty like B-movie-ish, low budget. The acting, the production isn't like A level, isn't like A tier. And that does exist in horror movies, okay? There are a lot of horror movies that are of that tier. They look like $1 million, I guess, so to speak. Whereas this one definitely doesn't look like that. It looks like B-movie-ish. And so I'm not gonna lie, for like the first quarter of this movie, I'm almost checking out just because it is very B-movie-ish. The acting isn't like freaking Daniel Day-Lewis or something like that. And this is one of those movies, and there are a lot of movies like this that have, I guess, what you could call a prop-up type of actor. William Sadler is a very distinguished legend, not in horror, but just in general. He's a very respected character actor. And Tad Hilgenbrink, I've seen him in other things before. You can tell that this guy knows how to act. He's actually very good at the craft. And it is a craft, you know, and I think it takes a B movie for you to realize how hard it is to actually act, to be a great actor. I think I even saw like an interview with Rob Zombie, and he was talking about how many actresses he went through to finally get Laurie Strode. And it dawned on him that, yeah, it's hard to act, okay? It's not an easy craft. And again, it takes a B movie to make you realize that. But where it lacks in the acting department and maybe even the production department, it more than makes up in story and, you know, violence and kills and insanity, all that stuff. So the second half of this movie, it's like all that stuff just kind of melted off of me, and I actually was really into what was going on. Plus, I'm into the craft of filmmaking, and that is definitely explored in here. You're going to see a lot of like funny little puns that pop out here and there. I guess filmmaking jargon, stuff like that. It creeps its way in here in kind of a comedic way. And also, I immediately was thinking of Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon, because this is kind of a documentary style of movie making. This guy, Tyler, his quest to find this lost movie, and some of the movie is filmed in that fashion. I mean, it doesn't have somebody with the charisma of like Nathan Basil in Behind the Mask, but it more than makes up for it in the crazy department, the insanity department, especially in the last act. A lot of good surprises too. Now, there's definitely some interesting aspects of these characters. Really, your core cast is Tyler, Lalo, Serena, and Alexa. And it's interesting because Serena is Tyler's girlfriend, but she is cheating on him with Lalo, not a really good friend, because Tyler's just so preoccupied with his obsession with this lost film. And so, of course, that's going to lead to problems in the relationship. But then his best friend's like sleeping with his girlfriend. And so when he seeks out Alexa, Alexa kind of makes a pass at him, but he's even so fixated on this film that he doesn't even take her advances. And so it's a strange dichotomy between all these characters, which I like. You know, they're not just stereotypical, one-dimensional characters. There's definitely some drama going on behind the scenes there. And Alexa is the biggest question mark, because this is a kid whose father was this like deranged, demented filmmaker. And so you're always guessing, like, is this character good, or is she bad, or what is she going to do? I don't know. So I think this is a good spot right here to tell you guys I'm going to be talking spoilers from here on out, okay? So if you don't want to know anymore, I would highly recommend going to check out this movie, because it does go to some crazy places, okay? But I definitely want to talk about spoilers. So throughout the second half of this movie, they're at the filming locations of The Hills Run Red, this fictional movie. And our main killer here is Babyface. In the beginning of the movie, you saw that kid, like, he's literally cutting his face. And now that we're in spoiler territory, we find out that that was the kid, Babyface, and he was literally cutting his face. It was just an idea that the director had, and he freaking did it. And so in the middle of the movie, when they're in the woods, they get attacked by Babyface. These rednecks, they themselves attack our main cast, but then they're attacked by Babyface, and he seems a little bit more than human, okay? Because he can take freaking gunshots. He is freakishly strong, pretty much an inbred hillbilly. And I guess if you're an inbred hillbilly, it's going to give you extra strength, right? But where this movie really gets interesting is when we find out that Alexa is not good. She's kind of obsessed with the filmmaking process with her father. Her father considers himself a filmmaking legend, and he is in the mind of Tyler, but he's deranged in the head. And the kicker here is that all the kills in The Hills Run Red, the fictional movie, were real. And that's why the movie never saw the light of day, because the filming was still in progress. You know, Tyler, Serena, Lalo, they're part of the movie, which we'll get to that genius freaking ending. And so this is where I had a lot of fun with the movie, because Alexa, she's actually helping her father film the movie, and they argue with each other back and forth. And you know, you can tell she's like eager to help out. And there's some really violent, crazy scenes in this. Like the character Lalo, who was shot and captured, he's pretty much tortured, and he has this device that's wrapped around his stomach, and it squeezes him, and then she starts cutting him. And her father's filming the whole thing, you know, to be part of the movie. It's crazy. And I usually do shy away from like crazy family, hillbilly horror movies. But when they are as creative as this is, it's irresistible. And I couldn't look away. It was so interesting. I've never seen a horror movie like this.
No, this is a rough cut, so be gentle.
And just to cut to the chase, the freaking last scene, she has Tyler sitting front and center. He can finally watch the movie, and he's watching the movie with all these dead corpses. And as he's watching the movie, you can tell he's losing his mind, because he's literally seeing all these murders happen in front of him. And he starts going crazy, and he starts laughing maniacally. And it's just a pure, inbred, insanity, crazy movie. And the movie just completely goes off the rails in a great way. It's just psychotic horror at its finest. And the story's not over. There's this like cool mid-credits scene where Serena is captured. She's pregnant, and Alexa like puts the mask there, and that baby is going to be the next baby face. So I'm definitely giving this movie a purchase worthy. And it surprised me, because when it started off, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be kind of a throwaway type of movie. So it's one of those movies that I would beg you guys to stay with it, okay? Stay with it, because once it kicks into high gear, you can't look away. You're completely invested, and it's just insanity. That's what this movie is. It's just crazy. So thank you so much, Caleb Tilbrook, for recommending The Hills Run Red. I've heard the name before. I never hear anybody talk about it. So just a lot of really cool things to discuss in this movie, for sure. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on The Hills Run Red in the comments. Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays. We do Free For All Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on all my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.